Hello viewers and welcome to Daily Politics. On this program, we discuss issues around politics, policy and governance. I'm Hamza Idris. The Senate commenced screening of the first list of 28 ministerial nominees sent to it by President Bola Tinubu on July 31. But barely 24 hours after commencement of the screening exercise, President Tinubu sent a list of 19 additional ministerial nominees, raising the number to 47, the highest since 1999. However, while the screening continues, Nigerians have also not been quiet about some of those who made the list. For instance, some commentators believe that the 9 former governors that made it have dashed the hopes of many who expected to see more of technocrats and industry players than the regular faces in the political scene. And amid the agitation, another news broke that President Tinubu has nominated former Minister of State for Labor and Employment, Mr. Festus Keyamo, as minister. Of course, the former minister had been mercilessly bullied by social media warriors. And when his name did not appear in this first and the second list. And then President Tinubu also withdrew the ministerial nomination of Dr. Mariam Shetty from Kano State, who was widely celebrated by young people on social media. A letter to the Senate President Godswill Akpabio indicated that she has been replaced by Dr. Mahmud, who served as commissioner under former Governor Abdullahi Ganduje. Have a look.
Request for withdrawal and replacement of ministerial nominee. In compliance with the provisions of Section 147, subsection 2 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999, as amended, and sequel to my area correspondence dated the 2nd day of August 2023, I resolved to withdraw the nomination of Dr. Mariam Shetty. Furthermore, I am pleased to nominate Dr. Mariga Mahmud Bongura and Mr. Keyamo San for consideration and if deemed fit, confirmed by the Senate as ministers. Whilst hoping the above requests will receive the kind consideration and approval of the Senate, please accept the distinguished Senate President and distinguished Senators the assurances of my highest regards. Yours sincerely, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Commander-in-Chief and President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. The clerk.
And in another letter, Senate President Tinubu has communicated to the National Assembly regarding ECOWAS' proposed military action and sanctions against the coupists in Niger Republic. In the letter read by Senate President Akpabio, President Tinubu highlighted ECOWAS' condemnation of the coup and their efforts to restore the democratically elected government. The proposed actions include closing borders, cutting off electricity supply, mobilizing international support, restricting flights, blocking goods in transit, sensitizing the public, and preparing for a military intervention if necessary. Have a look.
Request for support in the implementation of the resolutions of the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, on the political situation my modest compliments to the distinguished Senate President and distinguished Senators, and do have the honor to inform you that following the unfortunate political situation in the Niger Republic, culminating in the overthrow of the administration of His Excellency President Mohamed Bazoum on 26 July 2023, the Economic Community of West African States, under my leadership, condemned the coup in its entirety and resolved, alongside other members of the international community, to seek the return of the democratically elected.
Because we sincerely apologize for the bad audio. And on Daily Politics tonight, we ask these questions. How does the inclusion of 9 former governors among the nominees align with the public desire for more technocrats and fresh faces in governance? What does the changes in the ministerial list reveal about the government's priorities and strategies going forward? And how will the regional response impact the political landscape within Niger and the broader West Africa region? The day is yours. Simply call the phone number that will be displayed on the screen in the next few minutes, or send a text via WhatsApp or SMS to share your thoughts, questions, comments, and concerns. But please avoid using demeaning or derogatory language and keep your responses short and to the point. But before then, joining me to give perspectives on some of these issues is Kunle Adeni. He's a public commentator. Welcome to the program, my brother.
Always a pleasure.
It's like Nigeria fully loaded today.
Oh, yes.
And we're an interesting country, right? If you look at it, yesterday it was about the new threat by Nigerian Labour Congress, the promises made by President Tinubu, and what have you. You know, people went to the streets, the demonstration, and all that. But here we are today, you know, new twist in the National Assembly. Let's start with the reappearance, because it appeared that Keyamo disappeared at certain time. Yeah, right? His name back in the list of potential ministers of the Federal Republic. Why do you think this happened? Why the sudden change? And as I said in the introductory part, you know, he was terribly trolled by tweets. Yeah.
Well, I think it was probably as a result of the political pressure, a lot of people would say, not just on social media, probably even from stakeholders within the party. I mean, I would have said that, yes, I mean, this was someone that gave it his all during the campaign. He spoke for the candidates, defended the administration, and then when it was time for the reward, a lot of people had expected that at least he would get something juicy, I mean, under the administration of President Bola Tinubu. But when the Nigerians saw the first set of names and they saw the second batch, they were wondering what was happening, because I mean, the person that was initially that was even put up from the States, talking about Delta, Dr. Stella Okutete. I think a lot of people found that surprising. That I mean, when you look at the caliber of people that you expected the names to have appeared, those were not the names that did appear on the on that list.
Now, can you say that it is actually the social media warriors that fought for him? That's my thinking personally.
Well, I think there are two different fights.
Okay.
There are the social media warrior fights, and then even within the ranks of the party in itself, because I don't think there are, you can count the few people that did the kind of job that the Festus Keyamo did, even
but
defending
what about
the administration.
Femi Kayode? I'm beginning to have this fear that maybe if the Senate or even after they finish, we will see more names sent in.
In fact, there is the speculation going around now that there is a third batch. You know, like in school, for instance, where the vice chancellor releases the first set of lists, and then there is a supplementary list.
You also have the VC list.
The VC list. So maybe the last batch that we would see will be the VC list. And my worry is that yes, there is a need for you to consider a lot of people, but there is also the concern as to the need for you to also cage some people, because some people, it's their job. Give it to them, they are natural noisemakers, and then their noise probably should end at the campaign level and not taken seriously where the place of governance is, because but then whether they can flow.
But then where are we really taking governance? You see, initially they said this government, you know, that they are preparing, they are going to come out very strong in terms of ministers. But now look at what is happening. You know, it took long time, almost 2 months, you know, and I brought a guest here who said, if not for the constitutional provision, they wouldn't have even released the first batch by now because of the high profile politics. Are we reducing governance to child's play or something like that?
Well, if you say child's play, some Nigerians may object. They will say that may be going too far when you term it as child's play. But you also look at the seriousness that we approach to the task of governance in Nigeria. Because, like you rightly said, because of the constitutional term limit and provisions, which says that we know it is the prerogative of the president to appoint whoever will work for him in his cabinet. But there was a time frame of 60 days that was given for you to appoint. And why? Because we had a system in the past where the former president
Buhari
came into office and it took about 6 months, which raised the question as to whether they were prepared for governance before, or it was just,
the ambition,
exactly.
Fulfillment of an ambition.
He came, and of course, you did not know what it actually took to run that office that you actually were elected for. And so, for you to prevent that problem, because it created a lot of problems for us. The fact that we did not have any cabinet in place, and you could see how the fortunes of the economy was went down exactly within that 6 months. So, a lot of people have said that for us to avoid a repeat of that particular, exactly. We
now,
should take it seriously.
What about Mariam Shetty? I have not seen an individual who was widely celebrated in recent times, especially by young people, as Mariam Shetty. And today she was even at the National Assembly. But suddenly a letter was read that her name was withdrawn. If you were in her position, what will you do?
Thank God I'm not in that position because I probably don't know how I would have been taken out of the National Assembly. Sadly, she did not bargain for it. Sadly, she did not preempt that would happen because, when we talk about this ministerial nomination and screening, it's like you are preparing for a job and you go for a job interview. And they tell you at the dying minute, a job interview that you have probably prepared for like the past 20. In fact, from what we gather, some of them within the last 48 hours will probably not have slept. Because they were
about themselves, about the society.
And don't forget that some of them bring to the table very high qualifications that because we imposed and we put pressure on the National Assembly that it should not be business of usual of bowing and go. There was the demand by Nigerians that you must drill these people based on the qualifications that they have. Let us know what. So you can imagine the preparations. I mean, before you come to the studio, you know what it takes for you to come on. And so you have to prepare. So, and then for one reason, you are being told that you will not be able to do what you prepared for. I think it's a lot for an individual to take. And why I'm not also comfortable with that happening is there was no reason. Maybe a reason could have been communicated to her privately.
We're trying to excavate at our level. But what we gathered so far is that she is a victim of high-profile politics.
And high-profile politics at whose detriment? The detriment of the people that nominated her, or the nominee herself, and the family, because she wouldn't have gone alone. You can imagine the entourage of people that would have followed her to the National Assembly because her name was already exactly. Some people were even celebrating, especially when you look at the qualifications that she was said to have had, and the fact that yet again you have given it was an opportunity for you to give young people more chance to serve in your government. I think that was why she was being celebrated. That coming from a state like Kano State, it was not supposed to be business as usual, where it is the whole politicians that have their way. I mean, there are people in a state like that have also been very actively involved in the political setting.
Initially, some people were saying what we had before when her name and that of the former deputy governor some said that it was to demystify both former governors Ganduje and his good friend turned for Konkoso. That they were picked from different political family. I mean, the former deputy governor whose name was submitted, he served with Shekara, former governor, and this lady from a different political background. Meaning that some were even saying Tinubu wanted to have his own say in Kano. But what we've started putting together now is that Ganduje is back, in full force. He's now the national chairman, and this woman, Meriga Mahmud actually served as commissioner under him. So it's like he has fully consolidated.
I mean, a lot of people had felt that the situation in Kano was a very dicey situation. You remember there were several meetings before now, and the meetings were probably on who picks the slot. Don't forget that Kano, which used to be an APC state, because of the Kwankwasia influence, they did lose that. So I know it was a tough one, and the president trying to break that political jinx, but it shouldn't have gone at the extent of that young lady.
Then what will you say briefly, just in 30 seconds, on the governors? 9 that are back. People are saying it is at the detriment of new faces, new energy, and other variables that ought to have played.
I think there the president...
and this is before we open the phone line.
I think there the president disappointed a few Nigerians, especially when we are talking about the caliber of people that we should see appointed into this office. If you look at the composition right now, we look at 26 of them being career politicians, of which you rightly said 9 of them are former governors. You look at 21 technocrats, where a lot of people expected that the reverse should be the case. We should have more technocrats come into the picture than the politicians, because when the politicians come into play, the question is it about the interests of the country, or is it their political interests that they always come to align with? And you look at the 9 former governors, for instance. Yes, I think this is the first time we have seen such numbers.
Even though we're not trying to demean them,
we are not trying to demean. Yes, they have contributed, but I think their contribution should be at the level of party politics.
Okay,
and
I think we'll discuss this more.
Viewers,
feel free to now call and let's hear your views. The phone number will be displayed on our screen. Feel free and call. Continue, colleague.
Yes, so when you look at it, the question is, how many of them really have what it takes to perform at the federal level? It is one thing for you to be a governor at your state and you can perform, and you look at, even for those that were nominated right now, how many of them really did perform in their states, except for the exception of a few. Like, for instance, yes, the likes of former governor, on Wike, of course, we know that because of the role he played in the elections, probably was why he had to be compensated. But he himself had made a reference to a statement where he said that the choice of a ministerial nominee in Rivers State is supposed to be one person to take it, and that he did not want to be a liability to the state. And so a lot of people are asking, for someone that made that statement, what is his principle as a person? You made a statement that you feel that, yes, I mean, everybody should have an opportunity to participate in governance. But at the end of the day, we went around, there was the politicking, and you still found your way of holding on to that card. Yes, you performed, but a lot of people have said, when you look at the 9 who were former governors of the 36 states, are they the only set of people in the states that can actually perform if given the opportunity? Maybe because
of the role they played.
So the question is, do we really look at the competence of the people that we are appointing, or is this another case of political compensation? Because you have worked for us and you have delivered. Because there are some of them that, yes, why they performed, there are some of them that have whose names in that list have also raised more eyebrows.
There are a lot of questions.
A case like the former governor of Kebbi State, for instance, Bagudu. Yes, he's a loyal party man, but he has some issues with him that could have necessarily created a red
think
flag.
If we are to go deep into that, almost every other person there, there will be petition against him. And I heard, and I watched on the first day of the screening when the Senate president said that petitions would not be allowed. Somebody from Bayelsa, somewhere, he brought a petition against, I think, Rufai and all that. But one thing we are yet to get right in Nigeria, I may be wrong, as a student of politics, is you now wonder, someone maybe served as a minister before, then he became governor, and then after then he tries to become senator. And someone was a senator, he wants to be a governor, you understand, and then later minister. And so you now ask, is it really normal that, okay, after I serve as governor, you control a whole state, now you struggle to become a senator. Now you got it, and then suddenly you are nominated, or you bulldoze your way or whatever to now become a minister. Is it really about service delivery, or there is certain ego that some people, want to fulfill before they go to.
I think beyond the case of ego, you need to ask yourself whose interest. Is it the selfish interest of the politicians, or, like you have rightly said, is it the interest of the people? Because I wonder what will make, and I know the case that you are making reference to. I mean, there are a lot of cases to make reference to where these nominations are concerned. The first case is the case of the former governor of Ebonyi State. I mean, you successfully served as a governor for 2 terms. Yes, you performed, and then you went to the Senate. For me, I think that should be enough compensation for you, because sadly, and I think that is the problem where you draw the thin line between what politics should be about service and then having a career outside politics, because what you have is a clear case of politics being the only career that some of these people have. Outside of politics, they are probably nothing.
Should it be a career? Viewers, our lines are open. Call and let's have your thoughts on the subjects of discussion, the screening of the ministers, the changes made by President Bola Tinubu, and then the issue in Niger. Our line is open. Call, let's have your thoughts. Yes, Kule.
Yes, so should it really be about a career? I mean, what do you have to give to your people after office? We have complained already that the idea of the former governors turning the National Assembly to a retirement home should be stopped. But we have encouraged it for so long. Now, I do not see that, even after encouraging that, which has not gone well for us, where only a few people continue to control the resources of the people of the state. I mean, you have served as a former governor. You know how much in terms of allowances, resources you had under your control. As if that was not enough for you. Some of them even go to give themselves lifetime pensions and arrears. Now, I'm wondering, for somebody that was a former governor, goes to the Senate, there was no point where it was mentioned in the state that he was going to hands off the entitlement of being a former governor. Then you go to the Senate, and you are still collecting all of these allocations. And then, for one reason or the other, you are giving a ministerial appointment. And I'm like, you getting into the Senate, was that not already enough for you? And I'm wondering.
I think we have a caller, Mohammed from Yobe. Yes, Mohammed, welcome to the program. And what are your thoughts? Go ahead, Mohammed. Are you from Damaturu or Gaidam or Unguru or Gashua? Oh, we lost him. It appears we're having some challenges with our dedicated line, but I'm sure we will fix it. Now, let's talk about Niger, Sultan and former head of state Abdulsalam Abubakar were dispatched by President Tinubu yesterday to go and see how they can broker peace, but they came back. Hours later, we saw the coup plotters slamming, Okay, we have him again. Hello, Mohammed. Okay, Paul from FCT. Okay, Paul, welcome to the program.
All right, thank you so much. I am quite delighted with your discussion tonight. Very insightful, and the one that must constitute part of the things that our public officers need to hear to form a proper nation-building discussion. I'm looking at the whole list sent by the president. I can tell you that most of us, especially myself, I never liked this person. He has gone ahead to increase my dislike for his style of leadership. I heard a lot of people said a lot of things that he assembled his brain and so on when he was in Lagos. But I look at what is happening.
Okay, who are you talking about, Paul? Paul, who are you referring to?
So what I'm talking about is about the ministerial list.
The entire list, okay.
He never surprised me. I was thinking that, with all the things that happen in various administrations, that the next president will surprise everybody. And this president is really on the side. that the traditional guys have been doing in terms of politics and the mismanagement of the public.
All right, thank you, Paul. Thank you. We hope to have you again.
Right.
You had Paul from the FCT. He says he wasn't impressed with the entire list. Maybe you start to disagree with him?
Well, I not necessarily, because when a lot of us look at the list, we ask ourselves, should it take 60 days?
Okay.
To start with.
So the energy dissipated.
Exactly, because there was a lot of anxiety.
Yeah.
Anxiety filled the air that, okay, yes, we know the president. And I think in the campaigns, that was what actually did stand out for him. Other issues may not have stood out for him, but I think that was what those around the presidential campaign team could brag about. That, I mean, look at the quality of people we had when he was a former governor of Lagos, even though we could still see that reflect in some of the names. I mean, I'm quite impressed with some names, for instance, because in some areas there are names that we expect that they should fall into these places. And we know the quality of work that they will do if they are given. You have the likes of Wale Edun, you have the likes of Dele Alake, for instance, who has been a strong ally of the president. And
you mentioned El-Rufai?
Yeah, well, for former Governor El-Rufai, mixed feelings there, but especially, yes, he performed, I mean, when he was minister previously under the Obasanjo era. But you look at his, he also performed as governor, but I mean, there were also some underlying issues that did not go down well for some lot of people.
I keep saying, all of them have underlying issues.
They all have underlying issues, but I mean, you could actually easily single out some people. I mean, the case of Professor Pate, even the lawmakers were waiting for him yesterday. By the time he was going to appear for screening at the Senate yesterday, I read through his resume, and I said that, I mean, if you are talking about the world-class brains in the administration.
We have another caller, Solomon from Katsina. Solomon, welcome to the program, and let's have your thoughts.
My thought of the government for now, if you look at the way the Nigerian politics is going, and somebody will be in the government for almost about 40 years, and they will tell us that the youth are the leader of tomorrow. Looking at it now, how do the youth become a leader of tomorrow? When you see the old people, they don't want to leave the government, then you can find yourself in doing another business so that the youth can occupy the business that they are doing. Then the new youth, they will come up with a good idea that will move the Nigeria forward. They can look into it so that the youth will be a leader tomorrow, as the title implies.
All right. Thank you very much, Solomon, and thank you for your comments. We have to have you again. You had him. It's like recycling
the old set of leaders.
But I have concern here. You see, if the youth could not volunteer, come out and vote one of their own, why should they claim that someone who is 70 or over 70 should now look for someone who is 25 or 30 to be minister?
This is where I will also
because there is this understanding. You want to move with your likes. People who you can think alike.
Well, you want to move with your likes in the midst of a changing world order, in the midst of a changing generation, because don't forget that the technology is dominating change right now. And the question is, the whole people that you feel comfortable, because I get where you're coming from, and I think that is the sense that I see the president also brought into, that he knows most of these people, and these are the people he feels comfortable with, and they have a sense of loyalty to him. But there are also other youths. I mean, there are trailblazing youths.
And I think he has tried.
Yes, he has actually tried, because when you see the likes of Betta Edu, you see the likes of Ogotete, there are 36, 44-year-old.
And even the one from...
but there are some names that I was expecting to see that I didn't also see there. I mean, the likes of Edayo Israel, for instance. I mean, he would have been a very good fit for the Minister of Youth and Sports Development. So,
okay, good. We have Aliyu from Nasarawa. Okay, let's hear you. Mr. Aliyu, welcome to the program.
Yeah, Ali Umar Shamaki from upon the Nasarawa. Actually, it's very unfortunate and sympathetic. About 9 ex-governors, but it says inclusive of government. Where are they? The life of everybody, the life of they don't need this thing. I can't somebody reject all these things. Okay, what if they don't work working? So
Yeah, Ali, it appears the line is terrible. We have you try again, or we have you next week. Thank you, but I got a gist of what you are saying. You are also on the same page with Solomon and Paul. You know, you are not really satisfied with the viewers. Keep calling. The dedicated line is there, and we also want you to comment on happenings across the border in Niger Republic. Yeah, Kule. I asked about the emails sent by President Tinubu to Niger, but it's like the whole issue is now getting out of hand. You can see he has asked the Senate to give him permission to deploy troops. Is it the right path to follow?
While there is a need for us to sustain democratic principles within the economic community of the West African states, which it seems to be the step that the president is trying to take in restoring Mohamed Bazoum back into power, I think, and a lot of us who observe the developments in Niger would think that we also need to tread carefully, especially with the different impressions that people have, of course, particularly here back at home, and whether we still have a strong voice in playing the big brother role.
All right, big brother role. It's like we have another Aliyu from Borno, maybe Maiduguri or Gambaru Gala. Ali, welcome to the program.
Good evening.
Yes, welcome. Go ahead.
I'm thinking in the next step.
What your contribution, please?
My contribution to this is that there will be coup in Niger. I'm not supporting the court division.
Okay. Okay, you are not supporting military action, okay?
I'm not supporting military action against Niger Republic.
Okay.
Because Niger Republic is governing the northern part of Nigeria.
Yes.
So happens to northern
Very
Nigeria.
close to you, right? Yeah.
So the federal government should be very careful about this. They should not take action on it because it will affect us that are living within the borders of Nigeria.
Are you calling from Maiduguri or Gambaru Ngala?
I'm calling from Biu.
Oh, from Biu.
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much, Aliyu.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, you had Aliyu. He said military action is not actually the solution, and that is the our lead story today in the newspaper. That eminent Nigerians. We spoke to quite a number of people. Even the other consultative forum said no to war, diplomacy, sanction, fair enough.
Yes, and I quite agree, because if you look at the dangers of a military fallout, it could bring about a form of destabilization even into the region. Look at Nigeria, for instance. If I'm not mistaken, about 8 states.
Yeah, you see, we have Sokoto, we have KB,
even Borno State.
We have Sokoto, KB, you have Katsina, you have Kano, you have Jigawa, you have Yobe.
So you want to tread carefully
Jigawa,
so that the fallout does not lead to influx of Niger citizens coming and creating a form of destabilization.
And ironically, we have over 300,000 Nigerians.
Exactly. So I think we need to be careful. Yes, there is the need for economic sanctions.
For caution. Okay.
Yes.
We have another caller from Kano, Yahaya. Welcome to the program, and what are your thoughts? Wow, the network is really bad. Yahaya, please try again. We are ready to take your call. Yeah. Okay,
so
go ahead.
I think you can put economic sanctions in place, like the restriction of movement, restriction of transportation of certain items that could want to force the hands of those that have led this junta in Niger. But when you go through a military deployment, it could be escalating the situation. And if it is not carefully managed, the fallback could hit us in a way that we would least expect it. Already you can see, even on the part of the Nigerians themselves, they are already, to see them celebrating.
I was sad in the morning when I saw is it the effigy of the president? Some of his photos and all that.
And you could see the inscriptions, exactly. So you want a situation where you don't want a blowback reaction that will lead to the citizens coming to infiltrate. I mean, I looked at...
referring to actually photos of
exactly, because Tinubu, already when you talk about security, for instance, you know that we have been so privileged because of the cooperation we have had, that the security of our borders, we have not seen the kind of infiltration that we naturally see. But if you look at the borderline between Katsina and Niger, for instance, it is just a drum and it's wood that is used to block it. So if there is an influx of people, can you control their movement? And do you know, for whatever intentions they could be coming in to achieve, whether they will come in to look for refuge or they are coming in
it's like we have
to destabilize
another caller from your state. Hello?
Yes, sir. Good evening, sir.
Yes, how are you?
I'm very fine.
What is the name, please?
My comment on this? My comment is the citizen need to be careful with this decision he's about to take.
Okay.
Because he just made the chairman of the ECOWAS, so he should not take decision that may affect Nigeria.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Because the Mali and the Burkina Faso are giving warning. The Boko Haram alone is what is killing us.
Yeah.
So she not saying Nigeria finished. So and the
all right.
that another country will be fighting us.
All right.
So that is my thought for this.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for calling. You see, he said we should be very careful. We should tarry a while because the energy, you know, that we see in Nigerian soldiers is beyond the energy they have. They have this strong belief that there will be support from Mali, from Guinea, you know, and Burkina Faso.
We could see that some of them were not fully showing support. I mean, when you look at the last meeting that they did have at the defense headquarters, we saw that majority of them were absent at that meeting with the defense chiefs, ECOWAS defense chiefs. So it means that there are actually divergent thoughts and reactions as to how we want to approach the situation. I think for a lot of us who are observers, will tell you that, I mean, I think it should be more about the economic approach and the diplomatic approach. How do you bring all the parties to the table and say that, look, what could be the solution as against a full-force military intervention? Because from what I gather, in fact, the regional cooperation that we have seen is why we have not seen the escalation of insurgency here in Nigeria because of the cooperation that we have seen.
And you know, people are saying that Nigeria and Niger are brothers. And it's true, honestly. I'm from Katsina, and if my village is next to you don't so you have your relatives across, and people are even making reference to the support Nigeria got from Niger, you know, during the civil war, when all channels were closed. You know, the Nigerian president then now allowed Nigeria to use, you know, their airspace, the land borders and all that, to have access to vitals for Nigeria to prosecute the war. But beyond that, it's about life. And people are asking questions. Why there was no military might in Mali? Why there was no military might in Guinea, in Burkina Faso, but in Niger? Looking at what will come out of it, because Nigeria stands to lose a lot.
In fact, they say you don't go to war with people that have nothing to lose. For Niger, already the military will tell you, I mean, we have taken the country back. We don't have anything to lose. And they also probably had their reason, even though, like we said, when you are talking about...
the reason, you know, democracy is the option.
And I know that that is what the chairperson of ECOWAS, in the person of President Tinubu, is trying to achieve. But why there is a need to uphold the democratic principles, even among the West African region, you must tread carefully, because you know that a blowback could have its own negative impact here back for us at home. And look, you can impose other sanctions. You can impose other sanctions. Economic. Right. It doesn't have to be military intervention.
Good. Okay, we have another caller from Katsina, Naziru. Welcome to the program, Naziru. And what are your thoughts? Wow, sadly, we lost Naziru. Quite a number of people who want to call. Please keep trying. The line will remain open, and we will entertain your thoughts. Thank you. Yes. So now, what do you think other countries, I mean, US, France, stand to gain from this? Don't you think they should also encourage diplomacy in resolving this impasse?
Well, yes, I remember even Bazoum himself was calling out to the United States, asking that he be reinstated as the president of the country. But I think there again, you also need to look at another problem that they may have. This issue of the influence of Western powers in how they handle and interfere even into the affairs, politically and otherwise, of the African countries. Because I think that has been the biggest threat to some of these African countries. You could see how the severe ties, Mali, for instance, severe ties with France just a couple of days ago. And so a lot of people are...
And Niger has done so also. They say that they have cut the ties with
exactly.
US, they have cut it with France.
Because when you look at the foreign interference, you ask yourself, whose interests have they always been protecting? Is it the interest of the people, or is it the interest of the free-for-all for the resources that we have?
Okay, we have another caller from Yola. Hello, welcome to the program. Martins, what are your thoughts?
Yes, good evening, sir.
Welcome, Martins. Go ahead.
I am Pastor Martin. I'm calling from Yola.
Yes, welcome.
I can see the Nigerian democracy going into like our monarchian government, which is very good. People inheriting from one another, those who have been on leadership, and they want to be on leadership for many years, and the youth are not being taken care of, which is not a good way of democracy.
All right. Thank you very much, Martins, for your thoughts. Yeah, you had him. You can see that Nigerians are versatile people. Everyone has his understanding. Yes, and they have high sense of political awareness. It's like those who are for this war are actually a fraction of those who are against it. Now, do you think the Senate should give permission for the deployment of troops?
So there were several requests in that demand that was made by the president over the interventions. In terms of I will always say, economic sanctions. That way, you can try to bend them to their knees and at least bring them to the negotiating table and maybe demand for safe passage.
Okay, we have another caller. So myself and you are actually the moderators today. Garba from Yobe, welcome to the program. And what are your thoughts? Life, you're fine. Yes, Garba, go ahead.
My contribution is about the Niger coup and the
Go right ahead, go ahead.
My contribution is that we are not supposed the government to between Nigeria and Niger.
Okay.
So these are contributions.
Okay, what are your reasons, Garba? Of course, I know there is direct affinity with people from Yobe and Niger. Especially if you go to Machina, if you go to Unguru and all that, right? Oh, we lost Garba. But thank you for your thought. He said there is no reason. And I reported from Yobe. I know how close, societies in Yobe, especially around Gaidam, Gashua, Yusufari, Yunusari, Unguru, this line. You see people having families across the border. In fact, someone has two wives, one across Niger, the other one in Nigeria. Some from Niger, they come to Nigeria for the weekly market and all that. So it will really affect a lot of relationship.
I mean, even coming back home, I think even former president.
We have another caller, Marvel. Yes, Marvelous, welcome to the program. Hello, go ahead, Marvelous.
Yes, man, I'm calling from Gombe.
Okay, welcome. What are your thoughts, Marvelous?
It's just on that 9 ex-governors that are included in the ministerial list.
Yes.
I think there is not any bad when Mr. President appointed an ex-governor. It's only for Nigerians to look at the persons, his integrity, his past or previous.
Okay, so you're in support of it?
Yes.
All right, thank you very much, Marvelous. All right. You see, as I said earlier, Nigerians, they all have their political persuasion. He said, he said they deserve to come with the enormous experience they have. There's nothing wrong in that. Of course, we're also not saying there is something
exactly
wrong.
which I'm not completely against. I mean, there are some that their track record speaks for them.
Yes.
But there are some that you also know that they also have questions about their character and their track record. And the other important question is, are they the only ones with the experience?
Yes, and another question I will ask you is, are there other ways that they could be compensated so that it will be a win-win?
I think the problem with Nigeria as it is today is that we have overcompensated, especially where governance is concerned.
Oh.
Because when it comes to, yes, you talk about boards and parastatals.
So what about the voter, right?
Yes.
Who will compensate him for going out to...
Because, yes, you compensate your political allies and the likes of them. But the question is, the compensation, does that lead to any significant improvement to the lives of the people that have voted you? So should you be thinking about, how do I give the people that have voted me good governance by giving them the right caliber of people that can man the various ministries and give out the best in terms of whatever capacity they are being put into office? Or is it about a case of, this person worked for me, let me compensate him? Now, how much of that compensation will translate to good governance?
Yeah.
It's a case of when you compensate these people, they have already taken more where they are coming from, and then they continue to take more.
Good, thank you. We have Ismail from Niger State. Welcome to the program, Ismail. What are your thoughts?
Good evening. How are you?
Fine. Go ahead, Ismail.
We issue with regard to the screening of the ministerial list, what we have seen so far.
Yes.
9 former governors
exactly
on the list. What we are expecting to see from this government is that, we are about to lose confidence on this government.
Wow.
It's not what we have elected for.
Why? Why losing confidence in the government?
Since from the beginning, you see the removal of fuel subsidy.
Okay.
Government has been talking of the palliatives on the citizens of this nation.
But
nothing was done.
You see, I think they promised to remove subsidy right from the onset, and Nigerians said, we are going to vote for them.
They have
during the campaign,
They have promised to remove subsidy.
Yes.
And let me tell you that I see nothing that this government will give to the masses that will benefit the citizens of this nation.
All right.
Apart from that subsidy.
All right. All right. Thank you.
Subsidy touches the life of everyone in this country.
Yes. All right. Yeah. All right. Thank you. You have heard him. I think he's actually venting his anger. He's frustrated. And yeah.
Rightfully so, a lot of Nigerians will be. But first of all, it's a decision that had to be taken. Now, I think where Nigerians are concerned is what is the immediate plan to ensure that the burden of this removal does not hit as it is hitting hard on Nigerians. So it needed to happen because we were wasting a lot trying to bring a product refining outside. I think the conversation beyond the removal of subsidies, can we get our refineries to work? Why are we spending so much on importation? If we reduce the amount of monies we are spending on importation, will the price of commodities also not come down to a certain extent, considering that we'll be refining the products locally here?
All right. Thank you very much, Kule, for coming to the program, for assisting me to anchor the program. As you can see, we answered all the questions and observations together. We thank you for coming.
Always a pleasure.
Yes, and viewers, that's a wrap on today's package. We hope you found the conversation engaging and informative. Do join us next week for another interesting package as we bring more interesting topics for us to discuss together. And for all the callers, we thank you for your good contributions. That is a wrap. Bye-bye. For now, I'm Hamza Idris.